Hey, what's up? You're tuned into the Mary Podcast, where we talk about what it means to be merry when you're feeling high and when you're feeling low. All right, so this episode, we're going to talk about Jeju. We're going to talk about cycling. We're going to talk about poetry, and we're going to talk about Galatians 5. Yes, that's right. We're going to talk about the Christian perspective versus the secular perspective on what it means to be merry, what it means to rise, what it means to fall 7 times, get back 8. It's easy to say that, it's hard to practice that. And, you know, I think in my life I've had a fair share of falls. I've been blessed to be in America, you know, and be born in America, be born Caucasian, a majority person, be born to two parents who, despite having a bunch of parent kids, having a bunch of siblings, they still showed me love. They still showed me attention. They still showed me how to love. And that's something I'm blessed with. I have white privilege. I do. I can't deny it. I've got curly hair, I've got blonde hair ish, and I've got green eyes. And these are some things that, you know, in America I used to not feel bad for, not like white guilt or anything, but definitely something that I wouldn't have necessarily been like, wow, I'm pretty, or wow, I have these unique features that are awesome. But being in a different country where, they're not the norm, it's definitely been exciting for me to really appreciate myself and my self-esteem to grow, you know? Um like it's nice. But, like they say, with great power comes great responsibility. So, you know. All right. But anyways, Jeju. It's an island of tangerines, lava, women, and wind. The last three are known to be a saying, lava, women, wind. I don't know the Korean translation. I just got the gist of like what my friend was saying. I had a buddy who did all the logistics for it. He's a little shy of the camera and the limelight, but he's a good guy, really good guy. And so he told me that saying. And, the wind comes from the sea. It is a volcanic island, for those of you who don't know. Although Koreans say it's Korean Hawaii because it's a lava island, just like Hawaii. Um, but it's not like Hawaii because, A, it's a different climate. It's the same climate of North Carolina, South Carolina, so it can still get cold. I don't think it snows, but it can still get cold. Uh, the water is blue, so clear. Um, and, you know, it does have palm trees. So I was really excited to see that. For me, seeing a palm tree, and I'm sure for a lot of people, it's just a reminder that life is breezy. It's a reminder that you're in the tropics. It's a reminder that, you can put away your winter coats for a little bit. So it's nice. Uh, I don't. So the women thing, they say that it's the island of women. Not that I'm a womanizer. Um, they just say that because in the Joseon dynasty, the women who were born on the island actually could not leave. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the Joseon or the Shilla or one dynasty where women were born there and could not leave. And thus, the saying of it's an island full of women uh, holds true or holds water. Anyways. In the lava, you will find black sand beaches, man. You will find them on the East Coast, you'll find them on the West Coast, on the South Coast. This black lava, like pillars, and just, oh man, it's awesome. It's awesome. If you ever are blessed with the opportunity to go, don't doubt it. My friend June, he lined this all up. He was like, "Do you want to bike Jeju?" And I was like, at first, yeah. Second thought, I was like, "Oh my gosh, money wise, like islands are expensive." But I actually had enough money from selling my old bike to get a used bike and get a trip to Jeju. So it was really a blessing to have that cash and to be able to go to Jeju. Yeah. Um, okay. The winds on the east side commonly reach 18 meters per second. Now, I know what you're thinking, like 18 meters, what the per second? What the heck does that even translate to? Um, and I will say that for reference, uh, the Black Mamba, aka the Death Machine, that can only be killed by really this crazy looking rat creature known as like a mongoose. Yeah, they named the car in Halo after this rat creature, and the mongoose can it can sidestep the black mamba's attacks and then get after it. If I lived in Africa, I would definitely have one of these as a pet because the black mamba is serious. The poison can kill you in less than 2 minutes. So if you don't have an antidote on hand, then I don't know about you, but I don't have a black mamba antidote in the closet. You're basically wrecked. But I say that because when I was there on Songsan, on the east coast of Jeju, Songsan means blessed mountain. And we were biking into town, and oh my gosh, the wheels of our bikes would drift to the middle section of the road. They would drift back. Like, if you caught a side wind, literally, you were moving like a foot, maybe 3 feet, definitely a meter. And so it was just crazy. Not to mention, it was like a 50, 60-degree day, so it wasn't terribly warm. It was like 10 Celsius. And the wind made it feel like it was freezing. Oh my gosh, man. I slept so well that night. It was crazy. Um, yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. So, da 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 da. Yeah, I went there like February 15th. Uh, is when I went there. No. Ugh. February. Yeah, February 15th. And so, um, yeah, it was really good. So the logistics of it, you can ship your bike from the Gimpo airport for $50. You can see this nooner, this Hajima that's been doing it for 40 years. It's a mom and pop shop. They'll box up your bike. They'll give you the box. They'll tape up your bike. They'll give you all the shipping paper. Then you take that bad bike box to just straight up the ticket counter, and then they'll ship your bike to Jeju. The bike, um, yeah, and then you just need to take off your front wheel, and you need to turn your seat post down, and that's all you need to do. That's it. Really simple. You can do that with a 5 millimeter wrench, and you can do that with your hands. For the front tire, you just pop it open, and then you spin the for the front tire. You grab the knobs, you twist the quick release, or if you have a disc brake, you loosen the bolt, and then you take off the tire, and then For the seat post, you do the same thing with a 5 millimeter. You unscrew it lefty loosey, drop the seat post down, and that's all you gotta do. Yeah, so it's not too bad. The bike was 4 days. We stopped at the west, south, east, and the fourth day we returned to the north. So Songwipo is the south. On the west, we stopped at just a guest stay, and the bottom we stopped at Airbnb, and then we stopped at a guest stay for the third day. So it's 225 kilometers, which isn't bad. That translates to 140 miles. So it's not bad. If you break that up by 4 days and you bike 12 miles an hour, you're going to have 11 hours on the bike. That's 3 hours a day. So you can split that up however you want, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night, whatever. It's not bad. So yeah, ideally stop at 7-Eleven for Gatorades. Ideally drink 2 Gatorades or Pocari Sweats per hour. I was doing this and feeling fine. My buddy wasn't doing this and he was feeling messed up. He said that like the main reason it was so easy for me to the taxi driver was because I have a better bike. I think maybe the main reason that was easier for me was because I was in better shape. I'll say it. I was in better shape. I pedaled at a cadence of 90 per minute. I drank adequate fluids and electrolytes. I ate more than he did. Um, I have been cycling for 2.5 years. And so I've been running for 5, and I've been swimming for. No, I've been running 5.5 and swimming for 21.5. I'm doing these halves, but yeah, 21, 5, and 3, 2. Yeah. And yeah, so that's probably why it was easier for me. Plus, I mean, I did have an Amanda, so the bike did have something to do with it. And I did have clip-in pedals. But I told the kid, like, you should get clip-in pedals. So, yeah, at some points he was pedaling at about 10 kilometers per hour or 15 kilometers per hour. And it was getting hard for me to balance because it was like that slow. But at the same time, I think my handling skills that weekend boosted. They were so good. So, yeah, say to hello to the locals is my best advice for you. If you go on a bike trip or if you're in Korea in general, it's not necessarily common for people to say hello to strangers on the streets, but you know, growing up in Ohio, growing up in North Carolina, saying hi is normal. So just throw an annyeonghaseyo. You'll never know how people will respond. Annyeonghaseyo and a smile, man. It goes a long way. I had one guy in his 70s. The older guys respond the best to it. They're just like, wow, what a respectful. I don't know what they think, but they're just like, wow, this kid. So maybe they're just like taken aback. They're like, what the heck? But I had one guy that I distinctly remember on the last day. I was going down a hill and I was like, "Annyeonghaseyo." I threw up the peace sign and he threw up the peace sign and he smiled from cheek to cheek. The guy had to be somewhere between 50 and 100 years old. He was a legend. Love him. Handsome. Handsome, older gentleman, for sure. Yeah. What is there to say? I mean, there's so much that went on that weekend. Like, we got there on Saturday and we came back on Wednesday and we saw horses, we saw lava fields. I saw one of my students, which was really funny because I realized it when we had a makeup class. So my student, it was really funny. I was on this like UNESCO World Heritage site. They have like 10 of them in Korea. And this UNESCO World Heritage Site just had this huge area where you could overlook these waves that cascade on the lava rocks. And on the lava rocks, you could see these waves, and they're like 10, 20 feet high. And they just, if you were swimming in that, you would die. Like, you would tink your head on a rock instantly and just get wrecked. But, yeah, I was talking to this random, like, 10-year-old. I was like, hey, what kind of bird is that? I just thought I'd try his English because you never know how much someone can speak in English. And then he was like, well, I am not exactly that sure what particular bird that is. And I was like, oh, that's all right, man. Are you having a good vacation? And then he was just like, yes, I'm having a lovely vacation. And I was like, all right, your English is really top notch. And then the parents were laughing because we were having this conversation in English. And then it turned out he was my student. And then he was like in class, like we were both like thinking about it. I was like, at the same time, we both had the aha moment. He's like, "Teacher, were you were you on the island? And were you with a foreign dude or a native?" And I was just like, yes, that was you. We had the conversation about the birds, didn't we?" And he was like, yes. And he was like, teacher was trying to use Korean. Teacher was not good at using Korean. No, he didn't even offer that. The kids were like, was he good at using Korean? And he was like, not really. Kids are crazy, man. I love kids. They're so fun. I want to have one day, I think. Um, so yeah, say hello to the locals. That's the best advice I can give. Annyeonghaseyo goes a long way. Like it's it's not that hard to memorize, and the more you say it, the easier it gets. Then you can say it with like it's one syllable, but it's Annyeonghaseyo. So, yeah. All right, it's time for the poetry corner. It is a lovely poem by the Black Maya Angelou. So if you don't know, Maya Angelou uh, walked with Martin Luther King. So basically, she's a legend. Martin Luther King is the most famous martyr for civil rights in America. He is like a black man that was shot in Atlanta by a white guy who was like pissed about something. Probably not like getting into the college program he wanted to get to, or something like that, or maybe like that Martin Luther King was like cooler than he was, and was a reverend and stuff. Um, that could be a thing. Like maybe it was a jealousy thing. Maybe it was a demon. Maybe he was possessed. But I digress. I tangent. Um, so Maya Angelou. She is a black woman that died in the 2010s. She wrote many great speeches. She kicked the can down the road a lot. I would say that she said it best when, she said in her poem, uh, bringing the gifts that my ancestor gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise. So that means is I'm the dream and the hope of the slave. Um, she was famous for like saying how cool it is to be black, and she was famous for saying that it's okay to be black. And that is something that, slaves might not have enjoyed. I obviously don't know the plight of the slave. I really only got into civil rights in fifth grade when I moved to North Carolina, and there was a black dude, there was a brother in my class, and I was like, whoa, this black dude has some good culture to him. What's that about? And then I looked up Martin Luther King and found some cool stuff, and I've been on a cultural exploration quest ever since, occasionally off and on. Yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to read this poem now. Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I rise. Do you want to see me broken? Bowed head, lowered eyes, shoulders shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me down with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness offend you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of huts of history, shame I rise. Up from the past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of a slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Okay, so, if that doesn't inspire joy, whether you're black, white, Mexican, Asian, some type of mixed, American mutt, just plain white, whatever, man, you don't have to be any race to appreciate that. Like, that is bars. That is pure, unadulterated bars. Like, still I rise. Anyone that's been even bullied or even like anyone that's ever had anyone talk crap to, like anyone that's played Xbox can appreciate that, you know? Anyone that's positive can appreciate that. Anyone that's American can appreciate that. Um, it's like one of those things, like if you don't appreciate that saying, like why do you rise? Yeah, nice. Okay, Galatians. We're down to the wire with this last one. Galatians 5:13 through 26. This verse I read about every morning. I try to read this one because it just reminds me that being a Christian is not against the law. All right. So, if you don't like Christianity, you can turn off this podcast now. If you want to learn more about Christianity, check it out. All right. Life by the Spirit. You, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge in the flesh. Rather, serve one another humbly in love. For the entire law is fulfilled in keeping this one commandment: love your neighbor as yourself. If you bite and devour each other, watch out, or you will be destroyed by each other. So I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. For the flesh desires what is contrary to the Spirit, and the Spirit what is contrary to the flesh. They are in conflict with one another, so that you are not to do whatever you want, but if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. The acts of the flesh are obvious: sexual immorality, impurity, debauchery, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, dissension, factions, envy, drunkenness, orgies, and the like. I warn you, as I did before, that those who live like this will not inherit the kingdom of God. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, forbearance, faithfulness, and self-control. Against such things, there are no law. So, uh, those who keep, those who belong to Christ have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. Since we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. Let us not be conceited, provoking, and envying each other. So I think the key things to take away here are 14 and 15 and 22 and 23. Not to take this out of context, because the whole context of this is joyous. So, 14. For the entire law is fulfilled in these commandments: love your neighbor as yourself. Okay. 22 and 23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against these there are no law. There's no law against being a fruitful, chill person, a loving, joyful person, a peaceful, enduring person, a kind, good, faithful person, a gentle and self-control person. Next week, I'll go ahead and talk about how self-control and people succeed in the books, how children succeed that I've been reading. However, for now, just know that if you have been baptized in the flesh, if you have accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior, then you do have the fruit of the Spirit. That is John 15. So just know that being a chill, loving person is not against the law, and that loving your neighbor is the best thing you can do. Um, Regardless if they're cool to you or not, regardless if they're kind or not, regardless of them, you can be you. Regardless if they are PC or not, regardless if they're Democrat or Republican, just regardless, the biggest reward is loving people who aren't chill to you. Uh, and that's why I love teaching sometimes, because no matter how well off the students are, no matter how like rich they are, no matter how, like smart they are or whatever, there's still going to be days where they don't respect you, or there's going to be days where they aren't the chillest person to you. And the blessing in teaching, which is a calling, which is a spiritual gift, is that when people are mean to you, you have the option to get stressed about it, to be mad about it, or just to um, be kind about it. And sometimes it's tough love. Sometimes it's saying, hey, stop doing that. I don't like that. Or, hey, don't you think that's mean to me? Or something like that. But the bottom line is the best way to respond to any love is through love, because people need love in this world. Love is what gets people through college. Love is what, makes it okay. Love is what warms the heart. This is a cold, cold world out there. It's raining. It's cloudy. It's 10 degrees. It's not going to be safe to ride my bike, but maybe it will. I don't know. Uh, but the point is, love your neighbor, because the entire law is fulfilled in keeping that one command. Love your neighbor whether they hate you or not. Love your neighbor whether it's received well or not. It's all about sending love. So, how are you sending love today? Take it easy. Stay merry. Peace.